What's up everybody, my name is Marshyy and these are the best settings in Arena Breakout Infinite. Okay, so let's waste no time and dive right in. Obviously settings are quite personal preference. As you can see, old Unk over here likes his 90 FOV so he can see well. Most gamers would crank that bad boy all the way up, but not me. But anyways, one of the main things we'll talk about is how to best spot enemies and make your game look as good as possible while still performing as best as possible. So at the end of the day, with these settings, our goal is to win more fights. I actually have never changed these default zeros. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna change my default 7x on the 2:7 scope to be 100 instead of 150. But anyways, that is not an important one. I will save that and let us not get distracted. So interface language, English, beautiful. They did add some new settings in season 4, which is why I wanted to update this video. So I want to help all the new players out and just make sure we have a nice, quick and to the point settings guide. So I think the best way to do that is just to go one by one, and I will quickly explain. I will not be long-winded because I do not like to speak. Well, it's actually true. Head shake low. You do not want motion blur or head shake in any FPS type game. Extraction point indicator effect set. This is the smoke. So like you can actually turn this off if you know where you're looking for extracts and you won't be like blinded by the smoke, but personally I like it on. Auto inspect valuable supplies. I think this is a new one. So when you grab a red, it automatically goes right into the inspect versus you right clicking on the item. This is, you know, a very small thing, but I like it on. I like to just whip out the red and take a look at it. Border brightness settings. This is what helps you see loot. So sometimes you could just see this nice TI module that didn't have anything around it. I like to have this on high to get this bright border around it so I don't miss anything. Firing blur. Again, any blur I do not want on. Sharpen when sedated. This is personal preference. You can turn this off. I think this is actually brand new in season 4. What this means is when you take a painkiller in game, the game will start looking different. Like you would literally, like the image will be more sharpened. So you can turn that off if you want it to always look the same whether you're on or off painkiller. And focal point. This is a big one. I've seen many questions of how to get that dot in the middle of your screen, the crosshair. It is simply a setting called focal point. If you want this on, you get a little dot in the center of your screen. I prefer it on, but do keep in mind that it's not perfectly accurate. It is just a reference kind of guide point. Hit effect color I know is new in season 4 and pink is the best one. Moving forward, that was just a joke. You can do whatever you want. Quick store on, I have no problem with that on, just quickly moving things wherever it wants it to go. Someone comment like why I wouldn't want this, if I should turn this off or not. That would be helpful. Prioritize valuable items for case placement. Of course, if I pull a red and there's space in my case for some reason, I would want it to go there. And you can actually change the number here. So if you pull like a 1K item, it'll go straight to your case. So up to you. These two really are not that important. Auto rotate items is nice. Double click the left mouse button to move items. Your storage movements items, blah, 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 blah. But I've never had a problem with that anyway. So let's move forward. Display 3D character and raid backpack. Whatever, man. All right. For the HUD, team info, all this stuff, auto display, totally fine. The one that's very important that I recommend you always show is, well, the time remaining. Yes. And the performance info that shows your ping and your FPS. This is the one that's not on by default that you definitely want to turn on. Make sure to turn on the setting that shows your ping and your FPS called performance info under HUD in the game tab. And that is it for the first tab. Now we'll move on to the image tab. Surely we will save these settings. Now we start talking about how we can best spot our enemies. I am playing on a 1440p monitor and I do play in Windows full screen rather than full screen. That one is a bit of preference. I tab out a lot to go to OBS and Twitch and stuff and have no issues playing on windowed full screen. Now my overall quality will be custom. We will look at that below. The max FPS, of course, you want to crank this to whatever you can. I get a pretty constant 240 on my beefy PC on all maps besides airport. Airport has been a little bit suspect on the constant 240, but overall this game performs so well, I must say. We can have all the critiques we want about this game, but performance and like general game optimization is not a big critique for this game. We have VSync off, enable main screen frame rate limit. I believe this is just like menu, limit the frame rate in the menu. Sure, that's fine. And variable rate rendering differentiates the shader quality requirements of different parts of a scene, increasing the shader performance with a very slight impact on visuals. Sure, man. That one's not important in my opinion. Someone can tell me otherwise in the comments. The super sampling type, we will go NVIDIA DLSS because we have an NVIDIA card, and I left left it on this convolution neural network, which I certainly know what that means. That one was new this season, and we leave the super sampling quality on quality. Frame interpolation, I don't use like the AI frame generation personally. I don't feel any need to in this game. My frames are super good. And NVIDIA Reflex low latency, I do not off or low latency, but enhanced. Ray tracing is off. We are not out here playing Cyberpunk story mode type of game. So now we get into the real bread and butter. Let us see our enemies before they see us and destroy them. I feel like my settings guide is getting a little more unhinged. I'm going to try to stay focused. But at the end of the day, this is who I am. Okay, so I like balance on view distance. Some people say just go all the way up so everything renders in, and some people say go basic to where you can only see 5 feet in front of you for best like performance. But I like balance so that stuff renders in at a decent distance and we're still getting good performance. Shadow quality, a lot of this stuff you'll notice I'm dropping all the way to basic, which is the lowest, even though I have a really GigaChad 5080 PC. This is the look that a lot of people prefer. You'll notice some streamers when they're inside, which I guess includes myself now. I have become the enemy of the streamer. No, not the enemy. I am a streamer now. If you would like to come follow the Twitch, I would love to hang out. I'm streaming live every single day besides Mondays are my day off at twitch.tv/submarshyy. Okay, and if you didn't click off after that, the point I was making was streamers, you will see them inside of buildings. It sometimes looks like the players are like glowing or like certain items glow in different lightings. I get that too as well in my game. So if you want that effect where you can spot people better indoors, then you can copy these settings here. Okay, so just going quickly through one by one. Shadow quality, basic. Resolution, balanced. Post-processing quality, all the way basic. Texture quality, I like to bump that up so I can see the skins and stuff and it doesn't look bad. I don't want my game to be ugly. Effect quality, basic. Vegetation quality, basic. Shader quality, basic. Light quality, basic. World detail quality, basic. Could bump this one up a little to like balance or something. Maybe I will, just so it looks a little better on stream. Scope quality is balanced. And then of course the terrain surface subdivision, everyone knows what that means. I'm gonna ignore it because I have no idea what it means. Save. Moving forward to the sound tab. Master volume, crank that Soldier Boy all the way up. And then the UI volume, I use mine about half. Sound effects, of course, you want all the way up. You gotta hear footsteps, etc. And then we have the epic background music at about 10. This is personal preference. Character voice volume, this is out of rate. I would love to turn this down. Yes, consider yourself turned down. For what? Spatial audio on. Languages, use the language that you speak the best. That's my advice for this one. Team voice settings, speak channel all. Mic volume, what is this wording? Anyways, you can set up your push to talk how you would like. Let's continue to the more important stuff, which is the post-processing tab. Carrying on with our theme of the best settings to see players well. I use custom. They have in season 4 added these new like presets and stuff, but this is what I go with and I quite recommend this, and I have not changed this in, I don't know, very long time because I like the way it looks. 1.05 brightness, 1.9 saturation, 0.7 on contrast, sharpness on 2. So we are not done with the video settings until we go into the NVIDIA control panel and simply adjust a couple things. My brightness is only 52%, contrast 55, and my gamma is 1.11. Those are perfect scientific numbers that will ensure maximum victory. Just kidding, all preference. But the biggest one for me is I like the digital vibrance cranked up to 90%. This just helps saturate your whole image, and in my opinion it helps a lot in spotting enemies and just making the game a bit brighter and less shadowy. So quite simple changes there. And oh yes, make sure to change your refresh rate. If you somehow come in here and you were stuck on 60 hertz, holy, your life is going to change forever. But yeah, just choose your resolution and your highest refresh rate possible. And that is it for the NVIDIA control panel. Nothing fancy going on at all. So let's continue in game. So moving on to the last tab that we will cover, which is the control tab. I play 1600 DPI on 0.34 cents for both of these. And then all of these I leave on 1. So everything is 1. These are the same number. And then the free camera sensitivity, I also leave at 1. Double click interval, no clue what that is. I leave that. Hey, at least I'm honest here, guys. I do promise that these settings will help you and your game will look fantastic after changing some of these, especially compared to what the defaults are if you're a new player. All right, invert axes, no thank you. Quick throw on, this is a nice one, but be careful. When you press G, if you just press the button, you will whip a grenade. So be careful just whipping a nade, but it's also a very very valuable thing to be able to just quickly, without having to hold down the button and cook the nade, etc., you know, just quickly press G, whip a nade. I like that on. Close backpack when hit. This is one I have seen so tragically in game. You would think this would be a nice one to turn on, but you want this off, I promise you. If it is on, the backpack screen closes when you're attacked. So let's say you get attacked, meaning someone shoots you with a bullet while you're in your inventory screen. What's your gut reaction? It's to press tab, but the game has already pressed tab for you automatically with this setting if it's on. And so you press tab again, you're right back in your inventory and you're so dead. So you do want this off, and to let your natural instincts allow you to press tab and not have it press tab for you twice. Okay. Switch weapon after throwing. I do like on. Just after I throw a nade, it goes right to my weapon, which I like to use to shoot people with. And then keybinds are obviously going to be very much personal preference. I will say some best practice stuff. Let me see here. Free camera on middle mouse. If you aren't a frequent free camera user, or if you don't know what that is, when I hold down my middle mouse, it allows me to look over my shoulder to the left or right. So I'm sprinting, I hold down middle mouse, and then I look left or I look right. It is very important for information gathering in this game. So if you don't have free camera set up already, I would recommend hold on middle mouse. Fire, this one's very important. You need to be able to shoot your gun at other people. I personally just click my mouse. Yes. And I use hold to aim because I'm not a psychopath. Now, some of my buttons are a little weird. So check magazine is on plus and switch firing mode is on L. The reason I will say you're like, what the heck are you doing with that? I just wanted to put it on some random key that I don't press. I know some people love to spam switch firing mode as like a habit or something. Personally, if I have my healing wheel on V and my switch firing mode on B, which it is by default, I will almost certainly die to someone because I accidentally hit B and I'm in single fire and I thought I was on full auto. So I just want to get that away from me. Take it out of my hands. I am not smart enough to, you know, not fat finger that button. So if any of these look a little weird, that's fine. That's because they are, but at least I have a reasoning for that one. And this one is also a common question, quick reload. What this means is, like, instead of going into your inventory, let's say you just got in a fight, you just shot some bullets. If you press R, you will reload to a fresh magazine, right? So that other magazine that's in your bag right now that you just shot out of, you can quick reload that by pressing Alt plus V, or you can change this to something else. Like, I kind of want to change it to B. I've been meaning to do that because I have no problem if I fat finger quick reload. So that's just a nice way to have to not go into your inventory and to reload that mag that you just put away in your inventory without having to go into your inventory. I'm sorry, I just committed because that sentence was so insane. Moving forward, my switch weapons are definitely weird, so just ignore those. Use whatever's personal preference for you. Quick drop your bag. This is always a good one to know if you're a newer player. You can double tap X and it will drop your backpack on the ground. Obviously, holding V for the medicine wheel is extremely important in this game as well. You can rotate items with R. That's important as well. And if you're holding a backpack, let's say, and you're dragging it, you can press F and it will roll it up, and then you can continue dragging it to the spot you want to roll it up into. And of course, mark is a very important one. That is your ping, not your latency ping, but pinging on the map where something is happening. Push to talk, of course, personal preference. And open close map, of course, is an important one. The last little tip for this one is on the loading screen, you can press M now, or whatever your open map button is, and it will show you your spawn point and you can plan accordingly. So those are all the settings that I can recommend. I hope this guide really improves your general gaming experience in this game. For me, these settings made a huge difference. So if it helps you, feel free to drop a like on the video or consider subscribing if you want to see any of my daily Arena Breakout Infinite videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Thanks, and I will see you in the next one.